sense of loneliness. Feeling that there's a strong divide between I and others. And check whether it hinders you from empathy, from putting yourself into the other person's shoe, seeing their perspective. Try to generate a sense that it can give rise to arrogance, a feeling of superiority. By exaggerating our positive qualities. And even a sense of self-loathing or even self-hatred. Unable to bear failure. The inability to do something. Or maybe a weak character trait. So now to end this meditation, and to bring it to a deeper level, spend a few moments on whichever insight you've reached now, whatever conclusion you've come to as a result of this analysis. And just focus on that experience. Soak your mind with that insight. For my phone. Halfway through the lecture I thought, oh, I forgot to put it on silence. I thought, no one's going to call me. My mom is not up yet. No, it's okay. And of course I got a phone call. So, well, hopefully this meditation gave you more of a sense what I talked about, more in terms of your own experience, and you may agree or disagree, of course. We could have some questions now. We have about 20 minutes left before lunch. We'll have more meditation, of course, in the afternoon, and as we continue tomorrow. Maybe one thing about the meditation. Sometimes I explained this before, but sometimes I like to just let people do it, and I explain it in the process and then say it again afterwards, and people know what I'm talking about. And you probably are familiar with this anyway. But as the Dalai Lama, since the Dalai Lama also speaks about it, there are two types of meditation. So there's focusing meditation and there's analytical meditation. And we need both. So you've done both just now, basically, in the sense that first I asked you to watch the breathing. That was focusing meditation. And then I guided you through this analytical meditation. And actually, you don't need to exactly do what I ask you to do, what I ask you to reflect upon. These are just guidelines. You may take it further and think about it a slightly different way, and I assume you did anyway, because our mind then takes over. Those are just guidelines. And at the very end, I ask you, you come to some kind of conclusion. You come to some kind of, okay, so a sense of maybe, hopefully through your own experience, thinking, oh yeah, this misapprehension, it leads to this. It makes sense that it gives rise to this, that, and the other. And then you just focus on that experience, kind of like soak your mind in the experience. And what you do, you just take it to a deeper level, and then it can actually affect your actions. That in a situation you may reflect and go, oh, there's the self-check. Oh, should I should I allow it to run wild, or should I kind of hold on to it a little bit? And it may actually affect your actions. Not that one meditation, but of course, meditation meaning familiarity. If you do this often enough, then it can actually help your behavior in a way that you're able to stop certain awarenesses before they totally run wild. Okay. Questions? If you have any questions about what we talked about or something related? Yes? Yes? Go ahead. Yes, you?
You said how the mind always has to have an object.
Mm-hmm.
What's the object of the mind in Mahamudra?
The object of the mind always has to have an object. What is the object of the mind when you practice Mahamudra? I don't know much about Mahamudra, very little, but my limited understanding is that it's the mind itself. You watch the clarity, the basic the basic quality of the mind of awareness. Right? So you're actually taking, and there's some discussion on that. Does the mind itself watch itself, or do you have one mind and it watches the mind? Anyway, who cares what it is? You just do it. And to become familiar with your own basic quality of the mind, which we already possess, so to tap more into that than all the obstructive and afflictive aspects of the mind, just that clarity. Yes. Okay. More questions? Yes?
Okay, so maybe it's a complicated question, so I'll try to simplify. For me, it's complicated. So, if I know somebody that I care about, right, and I know that he has some issues, I know this is my mind telling me that I'm better than him, right? I know, but still. So I'm trying to feel some love and compassion towards him, right? And I know that love brings love, and this is what I need to do. But still, I can't get over this. Like, I know I'm right. There is no right or wrong. This is what I feel inside. And I know that there is no better me than him, but if I really want to give him this knowledge, give him this practice to look inside of him, right? But I can't do it because he's not in the face of doing it. I can't feel the love and compassion that I need to feel yet.
Okay.
Somehow, like, I'm meditating on it, right?
Okay. Yeah. The thing is, like, really nice, your question. Did everyone hear the question? No, okay. So let me make sure I understand it correctly. But like, she's talking about generating love and compassion for another person who you know has some issues. And the thing is like, well, I kind of feel like I'm better than this person because I don't have this issue that comes in, and then I feel that this is wrong, but then there's no right or wrong. And so like, I want them to look inside their mind. I feel like I have a solution to them kind of like looking at their own mind, their own situation, so they come to an understanding, but they're not in that phase. They're not in that. They're not interested in that. So I can't really help them, and I find it really difficult to generate love and compassion for them, right? Well, join the club. I mean, yeah, but everything I said this morning, it sounds so easy, right? There's no right or wrong. Of course, there is conventionally right or wrong. If he harms himself and others, then I call that wrong, because he destroys his own happiness and that of others. So, but the thing is, I like the way you put this question, because you're self-reflective, and in that process of helping this person to find more of a balance, you're trying to balance yourself. That's the whole process. So be patient. First of all, we need to learn right from the beginning to be patient with ourselves. I mean, to be loving and compassionate. Yes, I'd like to be loving and compassionate towards others, but I know it's very limited what I can do. Sometimes I can, and sometimes I cannot. So the self-cherishing mind always creeps in when you do spiritual practice. It dresses up, like, and put him, you know, you dress up. The self-cherishing mind now dresses spiritually. It's the spiritual self-cherishing mind. I'm so spiritual, right? I know from my own mind, because it creeps in all the time, right? Telling me, oh, I'm a special meditator. I'm a spiritual, right? So it's really funny, like just recognizing. So it's part of the process of recognizing that. And then also, we'll talk about this more, about causes and conditions, that your friend is also the result of many causes and conditions. And to understand that there is no solid, evil, bad person or, you know, wrong person, that this person is a dynamic entity changing all the time, but also influenced by certain causes and conditions. And if I had experienced what this person had experienced, do I know for sure I wouldn't be like that? And then I go, well, maybe I'd be like that, you know? And then at least I can be more understanding. It doesn't mean like I'm saying it's okay, but I kind of know where they're coming from, and know also, just putting myself into their shoes, that they're suffering terribly. And the wish, may they be free from this suffering. May they really find peace in their mind. Well, there you have it. That's compassion. But of course, at times we feel like, ah. Where I live, there's a nun. She always presses my butt. Ah. So it's a constant struggle. One day I'm like, yeah, well, poor thing. I mean, considering her upbringing, her background, okay. And then she does something extreme, and I go, ugh. She just gives me the opportunity constantly to see what I still have to work on. So in a way, I'm actually grateful at her when I don't feel, So it's just a constant struggle. So even if you're dressed like that, my self-cherishing mind is bold still. So it takes time. But there are certain reasonings that may help in that moment to deal with it, like the causes and conditions that gave rise to that person. What made this person who they are? Yeah. Yes?
It's not so much a question as looking for the equilibrium.
Uh-huh.
Because Buddha says you are who your friends are. And lately I've been spending time with people who work that I would not choose. And it made me very irritable. So on one hand, it's a great opportunity to practice. On another, sometimes it brings me down and I can't handle it. It is overwhelming. And I find myself very irritated and can't handle it. Can't stop it. With work, with knowing that it's just me irritated. So, equilibrium of how do you find it?
Good question. So, what did you say that the Buddha said? You are who the people are with. You are with.
Who your friends are.
Where did you read that? Where did you read
Not the
that?
Buddha.
Not the Buddha. Not the Buddha.
Thank you.
There's a saying.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. There's a saying. You are the people you're with. I don't think you are the people you're with. If I'm around a lot of lamas, that doesn't make me a lama, unfortunately. And if I'm around a lot of people like I disagree with, it doesn't, or I am different from, that irritate me. I don't think that. No, I would just disagree on that. But that could be debated. We seek out certain people, and that may reflect.
Can you explain what I meant?
Yes, please.
I mean that when you're in a certain atmosphere, not being isolated, being part of your surrounding, you are a part of some energy, of a certain kind of energy. Trying not to be is one thing, but succeeding is different matter.
Okay, you're right. Okay, so I'll repeat the question. So, saying that you're in a certain environment, you try not to be affected by other living beings or other humans or other people in your environment, but you can't help it, and you would like to have more equilibrium, and you know intellectually, yes, you should. This is a great opportunity to practice, but it's so hard to not be drawn into it emotionally, not be drained by it. Can you tell I'm talking from my own experience? To not be drawn into it and not kind of follow along, and you like to have the distance of the equilibrium, but it's so hard. I totally agree. I'm talking from my own experience because trust me, people that it's very sweet kind of attitude that people have, and it's very endearing when they say, well, you as a nun don't live the normal life. You're not in the normal world, right? And then I sometimes it makes me laugh because my life is so normal. I'm surrounded by people I didn't choose. It's like I live with nuns. Do you think they gave me a list of people and I could choose the nuns I want to live with? No. Right? The only thing we have in common is we like the Dharma, we dress the same, we have the same haircut. But we come from very different backgrounds, and many of them would not be the people I would choose to be with. That's like a work, that's when you're at work. So there's not such a big difference. Living as an ordained person, like I told you, I have one person, like one nun I live with. I'm not even going to tell you more, never mind, but really challenging. And I know exactly what you mean. At times I feel like, oh, I have equilibrium, but no, only when I don't see her. I can have great equilibrium for a few days, and then I meet her in the kitchen and I go, equilibrium. So, right, and she doesn't know. I'm good at hiding it, but it's there. So the thing is, it's really hard. So the solution is not to isolate yourself. I mean, it can be good for times, but please don't think that Buddhism is all about leaving the world, as in like leaving everything behind. That is just temporarily, for some time. You're not supposed to totally leave everything behind, because you need those people. But it's about striking a balance, right? Remove yourself, maybe physically for a while, to recharge. Okay, get back to your equilibrium. And then you feel strong enough and you go back and you can take that much and then you move back again. That's what I do, right? You can take that much, okay? This is the limit. I see my own limits. I recognize my limits. Need to pull back and you pull back again. It's a constant balancing act, okay? So, and of course, how much should you say and should you not say? This is also a very, very difficult matter. How much should you say? One of my teachers, this great meditator, he once said something very beautiful in answer to this. Sometimes we're in a situation, you didn't ask that, but I want to bring it in because I have that. It's like, should I say something or not? And this, he said when asked that question, asked by someone, should you criticize someone? And he said, actually, if your motivation is to benefit the other person, by all means. And it can be difficult because the self-cherishing tells us, I want to be liked. I don't want to get on the wrong side of that person, right? I mean, I know in my case. And that's one extreme. But on the other hand, also he said, if you feel like, okay, no matter what, you're going to be straightforward, you're going to tell the person, then can you be sure that when you tell them off, anger will not arise? Because we're used to criticizing out of anger. I thought that was really good advice. Because I can see myself also, if I'm really frustrated, especially if I keep it inside and it's really deeply there, I can see myself getting angry, and then my anger speaks, it becomes extreme, the other person reacts with anger, and it doesn't help the situation. So it's all about finding a balance. It's again, looking at our own mind. Am I going to an extreme? Okay. So basically, it's a constant balance act, and we will make mistakes, and that's okay. The fact we're doing it is great. So basically, try to keep balancing, like in that equilibrium, and when you feel you can do it, you go a little further, and if you cannot, you pull back. And it's just that, it's just balancing. So equilibrium is really like trying to be too lazy about it, as in like, oh, right? I could actually interact with them a little bit, just go this far. You feel it's overwhelming, you pull back. So I guess that's the way. And trust me, I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm in that situation. People think Dharma centers or monasteries are a little bit different. No. They are just as samsaric as everywhere else. Honestly, there's this funny idea, and I had that idea, that when you get into a Dharma center or, everyone is nicer and peaceful, more peaceful. Not necessarily, especially when we're dealing with our own emotions, they may sometimes pop up stronger. So a person who's ordinarily less selfish, because they're suppressing their self now, not knowing how to do it properly, it comes up stronger. So in these places it can get worse. They can be more of a mess. So don't expect it. And trust me, wherever you are, you carry your own samsara. Right? I carry my own samsara into the monastery. Wherever I go, I carry it with me. Plus there's other people too. So it's like you can change the circumstances, but unless the mind is different, the circumstances will sooner or later be the same. There'll be, when you change the situation, there'll be the newness, but before you know, you go back into the old patterns, whether you change your job or you change the house or whatever, it'll be similar. And just see it as a constant exercise, please.
Sometimes it's even a consolation, because if I go to the worst place, maybe the good instincts would come back.
Yeah, you need to check then. Yeah, maybe if it goes, but you just, it's all about introspection, right? Get to know yourself better. Because when you get to know yourself better, you get to know your weaknesses better, but then at the same time to also be accepting of the weaknesses. And if there's certain things you need to avoid, you avoid them temporarily until you're ready to face them. Okay? So it's just about that, like finding a good balance. So sometimes you may want to change the circumstances, but check, is it just expecting it to be better because it's different? Do I have unrealistic expectations, or am I actually realistic here? So hopefully what we'll do in the afternoon, and we'll have to stop here now, but hopefully what we'll do in the afternoon, there'll be more methods, techniques that we can apply to deal with these very practical situations. Very practical, very important. Dealing with life. Okay, great. Anyway, so, well, we do the dedication in the afternoon, so please just go ahead and enjoy your lunch, and I'll see you again at 1 o'clock, is it right?
1, yeah.
1 o'clock? Yeah. See you at 1 o'clock.